welcome to Andy's Ashes Analysis 2023. The first test at Birmingham, starting at 8 p.m. tomorrow, 16th of June 2023. Let's first go to the teams. England have already announced today their starting 11. We'll show you that, and then Australia have put in who I think will play in the first test. So England announced their 11 of Duckett, Crawley, Pope, Root, Brook, Stokes, Bairstow, Moeen Ali, Broad, Robinson and Anderson. In Australia, I believe will go with Warner, Khawaja, Labuschagne, Smith, Head, Green, Carey, Stark, Cummins, Lyon and Boland, which was the team from the recent World Test Championship. Now, in terms of some interesting facts, the person who has scored the most runs in Ashes cricket is Sir Donald Bradman, which is surprise, surprise. 5,028 runs of his 6,996. Interesting fact for me was that a current day player has made the top 5, Stephen Smith, 3,044. No other current players playing in the Test match have made more than 2,000 apart from Joe Root, who's made just over 2,147 from memory. In terms of wickets, Stuart Broad, the leading wicket taker in this series, 131 wickets from 35 matches. Jimmy Anderson, 112 from 35 matches. And Nathan Lyon, the GOAT, 101 from just 28 matches. So that's some interesting facts there around those. In terms of the Birmingham pitch, the last 3 times they've played, there's been the most recent one, Australia won by 257 runs. Prior to that, England won, and prior to that, it was a draw. So the interesting fact about it is, though, and we'll go to that now, is the scorecard from the last Test series when Australia played at Birmingham against England, and Stephen Smith scoring 144 and 142 in both innings. Crawley scored 113, and pretty much no one else did anything else, which is a bit surprising. But anyway, we'll go to that now. As is always the way, it will be important who wins the toss, and that will go a long way to figure out who will probably win this match. Weather for the coming days, 25 tomorrow. There's due to be rain on day 4, but the rest of the Test match looks pretty clear, so we should get a result. Another interesting fact in terms of the 71 series that have been played between Australia and England. Australia has won 19 of those, and England has won 14 in Australia, and in England, which is more important for this Test series, Australia's won 14 and England has won 18, and there's been 4 draws. Overall, there's been 33 wins by Australia and 32 wins by England, with 6 draws throughout that period. The leading wicket taker of all time for Ashes cricket is Shane Warne, with 195 Test wickets off just 36 matches, putting him 38 wickets above Glenn McGrath, who played 6 less Test matches in Ashes cricket, but certainly putting him 60 wickets above Stuart Broad and Jimmy Anderson, who both played 35 plus games. Most runs in an Ashes series, 974 by no other than the great Don Bradman. 5 Test match series in 1930, which was his first tour of England. And the most centuries in an Ashes series is also by Don Bradman, surprisingly, of 19. The key for me out of this Test match will be Steve Smith from a batting perspective, and from a bowling perspective, Paddy Cummins, of course. But I think that Cameron Green could be the loose cannon who could really bring it home for Australia. For England, Joe Root obviously holds the key, has very much been the number 1 batsman for England for a long time now. From a bowling perspective, I actually predict that Stuart Broad will be the main bowler out of this series. I think they'll rotate Jimmy Anderson out. They'll probably rotate Broad out as well. But I think the one thing that is probably of a concern is that with Ollie Robinson in there's no real pace. The bogey man for me in that obviously is Stokes. He can really, as we saw in the last series, for those of you who remember, when he won it for England on the last day with Jack Leach, he can really make a difference. So my prediction for this test match is Australia to go 1 up, and from there we can only go higher and higher. My prediction for the series, I believe there'll probably be a draw in there, but I do think that there will be a 3-1 win to Australia and give them outright winning of the Ashes. Australia currently holds the Ashes after the most recent Ashes series where there was a 2-2 draw, and we've had a couple of draws in a row now, so it really would be interesting and exciting cricket. The other key piece for me will be around the Bazball scenario. I know a lot of people are saying that Bazball, will it stand up to the Australian attack of Cummins, Boland, Stark, Lyon, and probably Cameron Green? But realistically, on the flip side, I do think it will stand up. Will be interesting to see, however, how the likes of Brooks goes. Obviously, Root, we know how he goes, but how Brooks and Crawley and the other gentleman at the top of the Duckett, how they will go if Australia does get on top early, because we do know that Brooks is very attacking batsman. We haven't really seen him have to defend at all. Bairstow has certainly taken to Bazball well and has probably had his best 12 months. Root, always my namesake, doing the job. Interesting that they brought back Moeen Ali. Really does reek that they don't have any other backup spinners with Jack Leach out, which is a bit of a concern for England, I think, because he has retired. He was brought back out of retirement at the request of Stokes, and I've never really rated him as an off spinner, to be honest. Dan might have different thoughts on that, but I don't think that he's going to do that. Finally, as I said earlier, I do believe it'll be a 3-1 win overall, and I do believe that Australia will take this first test, probably winning it on day 4, to be honest. As I said, the weather looking very well, and with the Australian pace attack. The biggest concern from an Australian perspective will be Warner and Khawaja. Both have struggled to move their feet in the second innings. Khawaja really struggled in the World Test Championship. But Labuschagne, Smith and Head, that's where it's really going to matter for us. And as I said earlier, my bogey man is going to be Cameron Green, where I think he's really going to come of age on these England pitches and really take it to the Australian bowlers. In terms of the Bazball, as I mentioned earlier, I think Head has proven that an attacking nature doesn't matter, having just come off the Indian series where he obviously prospered and made lots of runs against India in their conditions. England is very used to playing Bazball in their conditions now, so hope you found this a bit of fun, and tell me if there's anything else you want to see. I will be doing a quick summary of every day's play to give you a review, so you have that there. Anyway, boys, I look forward to chatting on the web chat for the next 5 days. Exciting time.